Shalom, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to the channel. I want to do a teaching today on the 3 days of darkness concealed in Psalms 91. And this is a psalm in particular that has been on my heart for a very long time, where I've been learning the psalm off the top of my head and really studying it and meditating on it, because it holds a lot of prophetic revelation about the times we are in now and the times that are very fastly approaching us with regards to the 3 days of darkness and all of that, the things that brings. So I'm going to do it in two parts because I had an urgency to get this part of the teaching out. And it's only going to be a short part of the teaching, which will be this first video titled The 3 Days of Darkness Concealed in Psalms 91. And if Yah be willing, there will be a extended version which will give more meat on the bone and talk about some other scriptures that we need to cross-reference so that we can see this very clearly, that this event is a prophetic event coming up, that it's on our doorsteps, and that we have to be prepared. Now, in my mind, I was planning to do something like this a lot later on, but there's been a few events that has happened recently that has reminded me that tomorrow is not promised for anyone, and never put off what we can do today until tomorrow, because tomorrow may never come. We never know what's around the corner. We never know what events could take place that could throw everybody off or stop everybody having access to the internet, or all of these kind of things. So we should be more proactive in the work that we're doing. And that's why I've decided to put this short version out for now, and to expound on it, Yah be willing, Yah spare life, in a few days with the extended version, which will have a lot more detail. Now, for those who may be new to the channel or who may not understand what the 3 days of darkness is, there is a playlist on the channel which is titled The Second Exodus, and under that playlist it has various teachings which talk about the 3 days of darkness, namely the two teachings in the middle titled The Amazing Revelation on the Second Exodus and the 3 days of Darkness Part 1 and Part 2. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen these teachings, I would strongly advise you to watch the playlist as a whole, but especially or specifically the two teachings highlighted in the middle, because this will build foundation and give you understanding of what the 3 days of darkness is and the timings and all the scriptural evidence around it. But even if you have seen it, since this video was released around 7 to 8 months ago, probably would be a good refresher to go back and to watch it again to get more understanding, more confirmation on the things that we have studied, so that you are fully aware and convinced in your mind that these things are imminent. So the link will be in the description, and also there will be a video suggestion which will pop up at the end of this video with the playlist on there as well. And as I say, if Yah is willing, in the not too distant future, I will do a further extension of this teaching, which will then talk in much more detail about some other scriptures. I just want to keep this particular one to a more timely manner, and that's why this is being released first. So what I want us to look at today is how the 3 days of darkness is concealed in Psalms 91. Concealed means it is hidden. It is hidden in Psalm 91. And that was for a particular reason, because the Most High does things orderly and in a timely manner at the appointed and appropriate time. And this psalm has been around for thousands of years and is a favorite psalm, like the Psalm 23, Yah is my shepherd, that people know off the top of their heads and love it. And Yah has inspired me to learn this psalm for myself off the top of my head and to really study it. And as I've been doing that over the months, I really started to understand what this psalm means in its entirety, and what revelation is in there for the times that we are in today. And you can say that about many of the Psalms, and many of the Psalms are written by similar authors, which we'll look at in a moment. So all of them are inspired by the Most High, of course. So therefore, we know that each and every one has its relevance. But there are some that are literally walking in line with the times that we're in. And this, I believe, is one of them. So I want us to have a look at the psalm and the structure of the psalm and to dissect it, not in too much detail, because that will be done, Yah be willing, on the next teaching, but so that we can have an understanding and so that we can start to use it in our daily prayer life. It is that important. We are in those times where these things are so important to do. So let's look at the structure of this psalm, which is told from a three person's perspective. That is, from three different points of view. Now, is it just a coincidence that it is structured in this way, or is the Most High putting the number three on our radar? Let's look at the 3 points of view so we can get some more understanding. Now, the first point of view is from the author, i.e. the person who wrote this psalm. Now, many of the psalms are written by King David, which we can see in some of the Bibles that we use. It might say a psalm written by King David, etc., etc. And I used to also believe that this psalm was one of those written by King David. However, on further study and understanding, I'm now more leaning towards the fact that this psalm was actually written by Moses or Moshe. And it would make a lot of sense because Moses was the one who, during the Exodus, when the children of Yasharel was leaving Mitzrayim, he was the one who the Most High instructed to administer the plagues on Mitzrayim or Egypt. And the 9th plague that Moses delivered was the 3 days of darkness. So Moses has actually lived through that particular plague and that particular event in that day. So it would make sense that he would have the experience and understanding as to construct this psalm and put it together for not only the experience he had, but also as a prophetic event for those in the future that would come after him. Now, I'm not dogmatic on any of those things, and they're not overly important in a sense, because we know that they were inspired by the same being, the Most High, and that's what's most important. We know it all comes from him, but it does give us a bit of a clue that if Moses is the author who lived through this thing, knowing that what has been is what shall be, then it does give us some encouragement and understanding that this psalm is in relation to the 3 days of darkness and the events that happened around that. So the first perspective is from the author's perspective, whoever that be, that's another story. But the first perspective is from the person who wrote the psalm. Then we have the second perspective, and the second perspective is from the Most High. The Most High is the one who inspired the writing of the psalm. Whoever wrote it, if it's King David or if it's Moshe or if it's somebody else, it was the Most High who was the inspiration behind it. So he inspired the writing. And then we have the third perspective, which is the audience being me, the audience being you, being the family, the assembly, being the mishmaka of both physical and spiritual essence. So whether you are a physical descendant, whether you are a Yasharelite physically by blood, or whether you are spiritually a Yasharelite because you've cleaved onto Yasharel and been grafted in, you are all part of the same family. And that is the perspective from the third person's perspective, is from the audience, those reading, those listening to the particular psalm. So let's look at the psalm and let's read it line for line before we dissect it. And this is as it is written, as we find it in our scriptures. Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress, my Alawah, in him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made Yahweh, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. So that is Psalm 91 as it is written, using these three different perspectives that I've mentioned: first person, second person, and third person. So now what we're going to do is we are going to dissect the psalm into those three groups so we can see the different perspectives and why it was structured like that. And that will give us a better understanding of exactly what this psalm is talking about and how it is directly related to the 3 days of darkness. Now, before we do that, even though I do like the King James language in terms of the Old English, the thous and the shouts and all of those other kind of terminologies, but in order for us to get a better understanding, we're going to look at this using modern English. So instead of saying thou, we're going to use the word you, because it will help us understand the perspective from the first, second, and third person if we are using terminology that we are more used to in today's society. So I've rewritten the psalm as we dissect it using our modern day English so we can get the understanding as just explained. So let's look at the first person perspective, which is the author, the person who wrote the psalm, talking from his perspective about the Most High and his experiences walking with him. So whether that's Moshe, whether that's King David, it doesn't matter. It's actually telling us that the person who wrote the psalm is talking about his perspective, about how he knows the Most High and the experiences that he's had walking with him. And we see that in the first two verses, that he that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress, my Alawah, in him will I trust. So here the introduction is showing us that the author of the psalm is someone who knows the Most High intimately. He knows him personally because the Most High is his refuge. It is his fortress, his Alawah, and in the Most High will he trust. So he's had this experience walking with Yah and knowing Yah as his refuge, his fortress, and in whom he trusts. So this is important because it gives us the introduction and the confidence and knowledge that this person who's written this psalm is speaking from personal experience. And then we look at the second person perspective, which is where the author the writer of the psalm is now talking to his audience from their perspective. So he's now saying, I've experienced these things, and you, the audience, when you experience these things, this is how you should respond. So he's giving us of today the encouragement to have the same view that he had, the author, the same view the author had on the Most High. We should have that view, and we should be confident, because if we are his, then the same thing the Most High did for Moshe or for King David or for many of the other prophets and patriarchs is the same thing he will do for us. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He changes not. And this is the perspective that we are now given as the second person perspective, the author talking to his audience from their or from our perspective. And this is what he goes on to say. Surely he, the Most High, shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He, the Most High, shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings shall you trust. His truth, the Most High's truth, shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wastes at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. And only with your eyes shall you behold and see the reward of the wicked. So we can see in these verses here, verse 3 to verse 8, the perspective the author is giving is from the perspective of his audience. He's telling us who are reading, who are listening, that we should have confidence in all these things, because the Most High will deliver us. He's no longer talking about himself. He's now talking about us. And he continues in verse 9, where he says, because you have made Yahweh, which is my refuge. So now he's gone back to his first person. He's saying, we who have made Yahweh our refuge, we who have made Yahweh our strength, which is his refuge, even the Most High, your habitation. So again, now he's switched back to this second person language, talking about us. There shall no evil befall you, neither shall any plague come near your dwelling. For he, the Most High, shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. They shall bear you up in their hands, in case you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and the adder. The young lion and dragon shall you trample under your feet. So we see all these verses here, verse 3 to verse 13, is the author telling us to personalize this psalm, that these things are about us. These things are about what will happen in the future. And we will see this on part 2 in more detail, but the author has experience of these things. He has experience of these things that he's talking about in various ways, and that's why he's so confident that the Most High will do these things, because he's experienced it and he knows that the Most High is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and he changes not. So he's indirectly saying, if he did it for me, he is going to do it for you, as long as he is your refuge, as long as he is your fortress, as long as it is in him whom you trust. So the second person perspective, the bulk of the psalm, is about the audience. It's about us. It's about the family of the Most High, and is a future thing to come to pass. That when that time comes and these things that are covered in this psalm starts to happen, then we should have the confidence that the Most High, who delivered the author, be it Moshe or be it King David, he will also deliver us. Then we have the third person perspective, where the Most High begins to speak from his perspective, and he speaks to the author about the author's descendants or the author's family, the assembly, the mishpachah. He speaks about the people to come. This is the Most High now, where he goes on and says, because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high because he has known my name. He shall call upon me and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. So you see here the Most High is talking to the author, saying to the author that because the people who will be reading, because the family who will be believing in the writings of the author inspired by the Most High, because they will do all those things, therefore the Most High will deliver us. And he will do all these things because we have known his name, and so on and so forth. So this is an excellent understanding as to why this psalm is written from three different perspectives in first, second, and third person, because of the audience that it covers. It covers the writer, the author. It covers the people he is speaking to, us, the family. And it also covers the Most High's perspective as to how he will act, because the audience has believed the writer and has trusted in the writer. And the writer has written these things out of inspiration from the Most High, but also out of personal experience, things that he personally has seen the Most High do. And this is why I titled the message that it is the 3 days of darkness concealed in Psalm 91. Because as we walk through the psalm and we look at the various verses, we can see that this is talking about pestilence. Now, what is a pestilence? If you look through the plagues that were administered, the plagues are a pestilence. There's a type of pestilence that the plagues are. And especially when you look at the 9th plague, which was the 3 days of darkness, this was a spiritual pestilence. You had the locusts and all these other things that came earlier on, which were actual physical pestilence. But then you had the spiritual pestilence, the demonic pestilence, which was the darkness. And if you look at the timeline of the darkness, and this is something that has been covered in these previous teachings, and we'll go into more detail, I'll be willing in a second video in more detail, but we can see that the timing of this darkness fell when it fell at noon. It was in darkness, and we see that in verse 6, that the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor for the destruction that wastes away when? At noon. So again, we see here a direct parallel that this psalm is referring to the darkness. And not only just the darkness, but all the things that come with it. 1,000 falling at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. Again, we saw that in the first Exodus, that many of the people of Mitzrayim were destroyed. Not only in Mitzrayim, but even when they went out to try and follow the children of Yasharel into the Red Sea, they were all destroyed. They fell at the wayside, but yet nothing came near those obedient Yasharelites. There was no plague that came near their dwelling. When they were told to go in their houses and stay in their houses, none of the plagues came to their houses. When they put the blood upon the doorpost and the angel saw that blood, the angel of death, he passed over and spared them. So the plague didn't come near their dwelling. And the Most High gave his angels to keep charge over them. It was an angel that led them through when they were going on their journey into the wilderness. There was an angel that kept them in all their ways. So you see that this psalm is prophetically inspired to what is to come, but also covers what happened in the past. As we know, the things of the past will be the things of the future. Ecclesiastes 1:9 paraphrasing. So we can see that definitely there is prophecy in this psalm, and it is written in three perspectives so that we can understand exactly how it related to the past and how it will relate to the future, and have the confidence that the Most High ends it by saying that he will be the one that will deliver us and he will set us on high because we have known his name. When we call upon him, he will answer and be with us in the time of trouble. He will deliver and honor us and satisfy us and show us his salvation. These are all things of promises of what is to come. But as I say, it is directly in relation to the 3 days of darkness. And we will see that in a lot more detail. My main objective for going through this psalm is to get you to have the understanding of its importance from a prophetic perspective. And I believe that we are literally, I say this every time, and it's always true, but it's never been more true than it is now. We are literally in that season. We are just awaiting for these events to take place. I kind of liken it to the 3 days of darkness being, if you compare a woman giving birth or going through the process of pregnancy, it is almost like the water breaking. When the water breaks, you know that that baby is on the way. And I see that the 3 days of darkness is like the water breaking for the prophetic events of Daniel's 70th week and all that comes with it. And we are literally in that season, literally. So it is very important for us to study this psalm and get more understanding, and hence why I'm doing this breakdown, and we'll go into a lot more detail, Yah willing, on the future teaching. But for now, let us get this psalm into our system. Let's get it into our memory. Let's learn it. Let's study it. Let's meditate on it, and let's say it daily until we know it like the back of our hand, because we are going to need this psalm during those times. We're going to need it. We're going to need to believe in it and be confident that it is written in this way to give us the information that we need. And what I want to conclude with is, now that we've had the understanding of how the psalm has been broken down into three perspectives, now we need to understand it from a first person perspective, which is from our perspective. So let's learn it from our perspective, because we now know why the Most High had it structured in the way that it's written. But now we understand that, let's learn it and say it in the first person, so it's personalized to us, and we will see the Most High move. Let's read it together. Psalm 91 in first person. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High will abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress, my Alawah, in him will I trust. Surely he will deliver me from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He will cover me with his feathers, and under his wings will I trust. His truth will be my shield and buckler. I will not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth away at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at my side, and 10,000 at my right hand, but it will not come nigh me. Only with my eyes will I behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because I have made Yahweh, which is my refuge, even the Most High, my habitation, there will no evil befall me, neither will any plague come nigh my dwelling. For he will give his angels charge over me, to keep me in all my ways. They will bear me up in their hands, lest I dash my foot against a stone. I will tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon will I trample under feet. Because I have set my love upon him, therefore will he deliver me. He will set me on high, because I have known his name. I will call upon him, and he will answer me. He will be with me in trouble. He will deliver me and honor me. With long life will he satisfy me and show me his Yeshua. Hallelujah. A wonderful psalm to learn in the first person so that we can literally recite it at will, because this is exactly what we will need to navigate our way through these promises and this affirmation and this confidence that he who has done it before will do it again. So I encourage you to learn this psalm in the first person language as it is written. To aid this, I've done an audio of the psalm, which there will be a link in the description, so you can download that to play it on your device. There will also be a YouTube clip, which I'll make as a separate clip, which will also have the words on there. I usually do it with a blank screen, but for this particular one, I will do it with the words so that you can see it. And some people are visual learners. They need to read to be able to recite and those things. So that will be there also. And as I say, if Yah is willing, there will be a second part in more detail going through the actual scriptures in relation to Psalm 91, revealing the 3 days of darkness. We've seen how the 3 days of darkness is concealed in Psalm 91. And now we will see how Psalm 91 reveals the 3 days of darkness and the doctrine that goes with it. I hope this has been a blessing to you. Please do like and share with others who need to hear these teachings and need to get these understandings. It does also help the algorithms of the video, so it's pushed out to more people. And also in the comments, if there are any other psalms that you think have prophetic relevance in the times that we are in, or even just are powerful psalms for knowing, please do write them in the comments as to what psalms they are, and I will consider doing a collation of all the psalms read out and post that also, that you can download. Obviously there's quite a lot of psalms. It will be very difficult for me to do the whole book, so I'll just pick out some that you write in the comments that have relevance to this particular teaching. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please do stay tuned and look out for the notification for this teaching that is on your screen now, which will be coming out very soon, Yah willing. Until then, to all those that are his, may Yah bless you and keep you.